Bravo 4, Kilo 68 is at your 6, and I'm sighting out on your north slope now.
Oh my God!
On April 17th, 2017, a task force of U.S. Army Rangers were caught in one of the deadliest ambushes of the War on Terror. The Rangers were making their way through a small town in Afghanistan when they were ambushed by a massive force of Taliban fighters who had taken up positions in several different buildings on all sides of the Rangers' positions. The Rangers were now taking fire from all directions and from elevated positions. But thankfully, the Rangers weren't alone for long. 2 F-16s and an AC-130 gunship were already in the air nearby and immediately responded to the Rangers' calls for help. The AC-130 gunship and both of the F-16s completely emptied all of their weapons, leveling multiple buildings inside the town and killing numerous Taliban fighters.
COC got some SOG. Bomb was on target.
But the Rangers on the ground were still outmanned, outgunned, and running out of time. So the 2 F-16s and the AC-130 gunship quickly made their way back to base to get rearmed and refueled so they could make their way back out to help the Rangers. Luckily for the Rangers, at a nearby base, 2 F-16 pilots, Craig Andrel and Adam Furman, were ready to come to their rescue. Before we get back into the video, I want to thank Metal Hunter for sponsoring today's video. And this one actually makes a lot of sense for this channel. Metal Hunter is a military shooter built around something I think a lot of shooter games have gotten away from: actually having to make the shot yourself. There's no auto aim and no lock-on system doing the work for you. Whether you're behind a sniper rifle, artillery piece, or anti-aircraft gun, you've got to judge the shot, get the timing right, and actually hit your target. The battles play out as competitive 3-wave player versus player duels, and there are different locations based on real military operations, including Pearl Harbor, Vietnam, Afghanistan, Warsaw, and much more. You can also collect and equip different gunner cards, upgrade your weapons, build out your haven, and work your way up through the leagues as you progress. But what I like most about Metal Hunter is the actual shooting is still the main focus of the game. You can upgrade your equipment all you want to, but when it's time to take the shot, it comes down to your ability to hit the target. So if you're like me and that sounds like something you'd enjoy, Metal Hunter is free to download and play on iOS and Android. I've got a link down in the description and in the pinned comment where you can download the game now. And make sure you use my code Jeremiah when you download it, because that'll get you a free welcome bonus pack to help you get started. A huge thank you again to Metal Hunter for sponsoring today's video and helping to keep these videos free for all of you to enjoy. But now, let's get back into the video. The 2 pilots had been closely listening to the situation over the radio, anticipating that they might need to get involved as well. And when they heard that the AC-130 gunship had completely emptied all of its weapons, which is almost unheard of, they knew it was their time to get moving. F-16s are equipped with a high-tech communication system that directly links with the JTACs on the ground with the Rangers. And the JTACs can send essentially text messages to the pilot letting him know exactly which targets they need hit. And while they were on their way to the Rangers' position, Andrel and his F-16 received a message from one of the JTACs on the ground calling for the F-16's biggest bomb, a 2,000-pound JDAM, to flatten a multi-story building full of Taliban fighters. Normally, a pilot dropping bombs wants to see their target before releasing their weapons, both to confirm they have the right target and to be aware of what not to hit nearby, just to confirm that the JTAC and the pilot are talking about the same target. The last thing you want to do is drop a 2,000-pound JDAM on the wrong building. But in this specific situation, the Rangers were getting absolutely hammered from the target building, and Andrel didn't have time to do one pass by to make sure he was on the right target. So he just trusted the JTAC on the ground and dropped the bomb as soon as he went over the target. And within 8 minutes of taking off from the runway back at base, he had dropped his first JDAM on the target.
This time, about 15 seconds to impact.
Oh shit. The rounds are hitting right in front of us.
And immediately he heard over the radio, "Good hits, good hits." The target building was completely flattened along with all the terrorists hiding inside. And from that point on, the F-16s just kept doing pass after pass after pass, dropping everything they had on the Taliban forces. Within minutes of arriving on target, both F-16s had dropped all of their bombs and were left with only their 20mm Vulcan cannon. Which they used to strafe targets over and over and over again until their fuel began to run low. While on these types of missions, the F-16s refueled one at a time, one sprinting away to gas up from a nearby tanker, while the second stayed overhead to protect the Rangers. They decided that Andrew would be the first to peel off and go refuel at a nearby tanker. But while he was approaching the tanker, a thought occurred to him. Even with more gas, he'd have no more bombs to drop. But the spare F-16 back at base was fully loaded. So he quickly radioed back to base to make sure the spare jet was available. Thankfully, it was available and fully loaded. The spare F-16 back at base wasn't just any old F-16. It was the unit's flagship jet with a tiger stripe paint job. It represented the squadron and was parked in the first position on the flight line. The jet was assigned to the unit's crew chief and was mostly set aside for VIP tours and was always the cleanest, nicest of the jets on base. But today, this F-16 was going to be put through the ringer. After landing, Andrew quickly switched over to the other F-16 and everyone rushed as fast as they could to get through all the safety checks before he could take off. On a normal day, a pilot who lands an F-16 might be ready to climb down from the cockpit 20 minutes after touching down, while those heading out to fly generally step to the jet an hour before taking off. From touchdown to wheels up, Andrew was on the ground at Bagram Base for just 39 minutes. As Andrew approached the target with his new fully loaded tiger striped F-16, he received another message from the JTAC on the ground. This one was very similar to the first. The Taliban had dug in tight to another large building and they wanted the 2,000-pound JDAM once again. And once again, without actually seeing the target for himself, Andrew dropped the bomb on his first pass over the building.
Bombs out. Bombs away. Oh my God! That shit was a fucking bomb.
If you want to see the uncensored footage from this video that was too graphic for YouTube, our Patreon page currently has a whopping 90% off sale, so now is the perfect time to join and access our full library of uncensored footage. After dropping the 2,000-pound JDAM on the building, there were still a few Taliban fighters moving around within the rubble, so he passed by a second time, dropping a 500-pound JDAM on the same building. All was then finally quiet within the buildings of the town, but the Rangers were taking heavy fire from a nearby tree line. So the F-16s then dropped their remaining bombs on the tree line and started strafing with their 20mm cannons. Then suddenly the AC-130 gunship and the two F-16s from earlier returned to the target location, fully rearmed and refueled, relieving Andrew and Furman. When all was said and done, an AC-130 gunship completely emptied all of its ammunition, 2 F-16s completely emptied all of its ammunition, Furman's F-16 completely emptied all of its ammunition, and Androl completely emptied 2 separate F-16s of all their ammunition. That is an unfathomable amount of bombs being dropped on a single town. Needless to say, that was not a good day to be a Taliban fighter. October 2010, a U.S. Marine platoon moved into a cluster of compounds inside Sangin District, Afghanistan that were believed to be sheltering Taliban fighters. But as they approached the compounds, gunfire erupted from every direction. Machine gun fire ripped through walls, AK-47 rounds snapped over their heads, and RPGs slammed into nearby buildings. The Marines scrambled for cover inside a small compound as dust and debris filled the air around them. The Taliban fighters were already maneuvering through the canals, moving closer with every second. This wasn't harassment, it was a coordinated ambush, and the enemy was attempting to overrun them completely. The platoon commander immediately grabbed his radio. Troops in contact, heavy fire, we need air support now. High above Sangin, a US F-16 pilot was already airborne when the call came in. He turned his jet toward the coordinates, pushing the throttle forward as the Afghan desert rushed beneath him. On the ground, the JTAC was fighting just to keep the radio working. Bullets were snapping into the walls around him as he relayed what he could. Friendly forces trapped inside a mud brick compound. Taliban fighters in nearby buildings and canal lines. Enemy less than 100 meters away. That meant only one thing: danger close. The F-16 pilot rolled in and brought his targeting pod onto the village. On his screen, heat signatures bloomed, enemy fighters moving between compounds, muzzle flashes popping in the darkness. The JTAC took a deep breath and said the words that he knew could be his last: cleared hot. In an instant, the F-16 released its first bomb of the night. A guided bomb fell out of the darkness, racing towards the village below. And seconds later, the night exploded. A blinding flash tore through the compound line. The shockwave slammed into the Marines' position, rattling their teeth and filling the air with dust and debris. But when the smoke began to clear, the Taliban machine gun nest that had been tearing into them was wiped off the face of the earth. The initial attack had been broken, but this fight was nowhere near over. Because even as the dust was still falling, the JTAC was already shouting into the radio again. The enemy was shifting east, attempting to flank the troops on the ground. In the cockpit, the pilot swung his jet around and slewed the targeting pod. Hot signatures appeared immediately. Fighters running between buildings, setting up machine guns, trying to get angles on the Marines inside the compound. There was no room for error. The pilot selected another weapon and rolled in. The JTAC adjusted him in real time, his voice tight but steady as rounds cracked overhead. The F-16 dropped again.
Dude, they're gonna think these Cobras are badass, dude.
Dude, 2-5, looks like good hits. Give me about 30 seconds for the dust to clear. No.
That was danger close.
Another bomb punched into the heart of the village, erupting in a violent flash that lit up the entire valley. The blast flattened the Taliban firing position just as it was coming online. On the ground, Marines felt the shockwave roll through their shelter, but when the dust cleared, the enemy's flanking force was gone. For what felt like just a few seconds, the gunfire slowed, but then it came back. Taliban fighters were still out there, spreading out, probing for a way in. Some were so close the Marines could hear them shouting. By now, the Marines were fighting from room to room inside the compound. Taliban fighters were so close they could hear their footsteps in the canals outside the walls. Small arms fire ripped through the doorways, rounds punched through mud brick just inches from where Marines were taking cover. The JTAC keyed his radio again. Enemy pushing the south wall, they're almost on us. In the cockpit, the F-16 pilot watched his targeting pod feed. The Taliban heat signatures were practically overlapping with friendly markers. This was as close as air support ever gets. If the bomb drifted even slightly, it would hit Americans. The JTAC took a breath. Danger close, cleared hot. The F-16 rolled in, the pilot released once again, and the bomb dropped straight into the kill zone. Seconds later, the world below turned white. The blast slammed into the Marines' compound. Dust, debris, and heat washed over them, knocking some men to the ground. For a split second, no one could see a thing. Then the smoke cleared. Where the Taliban assault force had been gathering, there was nothing left. No movement, no gunfire, no muzzle flashes. The attack was over. Survivors broke and ran off into the canals. Silence fell across the compound for the first time that night. Above them, the F-16 stayed on station, circling and watching for any movement. On the ground, the JTAC finally made the call everyone had been waiting for: contact broken. In a place where no helicopters could land, where no reinforcements could break through, a Marine platoon survived because of one ridiculously well-trained and skilled pilot who refused to leave them alone. This video is dedicated to the Marines who held that compound and to the pilot who kept them alive. And another huge thank you to Metal Hunter for sponsoring today's video. Don't forget to click on the link in the description and the pinned comment to download the game for free on iOS and Android. And make sure you use my creator code Jeremiah when you download, because that'll get you your free welcome bonus pack. Again, huge thank you to Metal Hunter for sponsoring the video, and I will see you guys in the next one.